Hello, Rich Dad community. I'm Kim Kiyosaki. I am the co-founder of the Rich Dad Company, along with my husband, Robert Kiyosaki, as well as the CEO and the author of the book, Rich Woman. And today we're going to have a really special conversation because we're talking with a woman who has overcome tremendous adversity and has gone pretty much from nothing to a huge success. And I know a lot of you watching, a lot of times we get held back. A lot of times we use excuses for why we don't do something, or we procrastinate, or we get into analysis paralysis, and all of it is just a way for us not to keep moving forward. And Rich Woman is all about, of course, women taking charge of their financial lives. It's about women not depending upon a man or a family member or the government to take care of them. It's about women standing on their own 2 feet and being independent and financially free rich women. So today we do have a rich woman with us, and I'm very excited to hear her story and just have a really candid, honest conversation about what it took to overcome some of the obstacles she faced, some of the adversity she faced, because as an entrepreneur, as an investor, even in your day-to-day life, you're always facing adversities. There's always a problem that comes up. And I think that really the purpose of an entrepreneur and the purpose of any person to be of contribution, the purpose is how to solve problems. What is the problem out there that you can solve, that you can contribute and be of service to humanity? So today we have our guest, Kara Vaval.
Yes.
She is an entrepreneur.
I am.
She is a lawyer.
Yes.
She is an author. And your whole gig right now is you love empowering women to stand on their own 2 feet.
Yes.
So welcome to our show.
Thank you.
So
Thank
glad
you so
to have
much
you
for
here.
having me. Thank you. I'm excited to be here.
I'm excited you're here too. So give us a little bit about your background, because it's a very different background than a lot of us have experienced.
Okay. Well, I was born in New York to Haitian parents. My parents met in New York, but when I was 6 months old, they decided to move back to Haiti, which is where it's their country of origin.
Okay.
So I grew up in Haiti. I had a pretty charmed life, all-girl Catholic school. I have an older sister. Back then, she was 3.5 years old when we moved. And we had a great life.
What was Haiti like back then?
Haiti is the most impoverished nation in the Western Hemisphere, been and still is.
Yes, the most impoverished, yes.
Yes, and a lot of political issues. There's always something going on in Haiti, growing up there. I mean, we had a good life. My parents worked really hard. My dad was an entrepreneur. He worked for a company, but also had businesses when, right alongside that job.
Okay.
And so, but Haiti is just Haiti. It's like there's always something. I had to live through the embargo where, there was a time where you can only go to school 3 days 1 week and 2 days the other week, when there was an invasion and, no gas. There's always something going on. But grew up there, and when I was 14 years old, my dad at the time was 42. He went to work. He was in the coffee business. He left home on a Thursday. He was due back from one of the Haitian, one of the provinces in Haiti. And that Saturday morning, when he was on his way back home, he had to stop at one of the speculators' home. It's a long story around coffee, but he was very brutally murdered there.
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah. You were 14.
I was 14 years old. My sister was 17. My brother was 5. And my mother was a 40-year-old widow all of a sudden.
So how did that shape you from that moment on? Because that's a big wake-up call.
Yeah.
How did that, what was the impact, and where did that lead you to? That had to be a defining
definitely a defining moment. I don't know, there was something, my father was obsessed with my brother. Like, he had wanted a boy for a really long time. My brother's 9 years younger than me.
Okay.
So he had 2 girls for a long time.
Okay.
And so he finally had a boy. And so automatically for me.
See, my dad, because I'm the youngest of 3 girls, when I was born, my mom's doctor said, well, Bill, they say 3 of a kind is lucky in poker. So that was he didn't want any boys after that. He was happy with the girls.
Yeah.
So your dad wanted guys.
So he wanted
a boy
and he got his boy. And here, my brother was 5
when he died.
when my dad died. And I was like, by God, you're gonna make it. You're gonna do well. And I don't know. I just became an adult overnight. And it was like, there was something that kicked in that I needed to help my mom parent my brother, because I could totally tell that she was just
in shock.
Yeah. I mean, my dad was the breadwinner, and so it was hard for her to even process.
So she's one of the women that her husband passes away. She doesn't make money. She probably has no idea about the money. I mean, she's kind of that typical.
Well, she worked in the
statistic.
business. We had a restaurant, so she ran, the restaurant, but it wasn't. She was part of what he had created. Right. And so, so here we are. I can totally tell that she's disoriented, and I realize that, I
gotta, you jumped in and took on the mother,
I gotta
mother
grow
role.
up quick, and not only the mother role for my brother, for myself as well. I needed to start, rearing myself. It was clear.
Right.
And so, so that happened, and of course, when justice still hasn't been served as far as
his murders.
Correct.
Okay.
Although it was very clear where it happened, who was involved, but it's the corruption in Haiti just leaves cases like this.
Right. And so then at one point you moved. At one point
I moved
you moved to New York.
I moved to New York a few years later, so
And
month shy of my 16th.
Why did you decide? Because you moved on your own.
Yes, my grandmother lived in New York. I couldn't be in Haiti anymore. I saw no future for myself. So I moved to New York. I lived with my grandmother for that 1 year while I put myself through my last year of high school. Did that, graduated high school, and enrolled myself in college. And I was accepted at Adelphi University on Long Island, which they offered me a full scholarship. But the scholarship required that I live on campus. Although my grandmother's home was only 10 minutes away, I lived on campus. And so school starts fall, September, and November 18th, 2000, overnight, even though my grandmother was waiting for me to come home for the weekend, the house caught on fire.
Her house.
Her house. And she didn't make it. So.
And was she funding your college?
She was, well, I got a scholarship, but she was definitely my financial support.
Yeah.
She was helping me out. And so.
So again.
I had a conversation with God, like, what the hell did I do to you? Like, is this a personal vendetta? Like, do we have a problem here, right?
Yeah.
And so, but what do you do with that? It's like when you get.
Okay, so that's the question.
Well,
that's
the thing is, okay, so Kim, when you're faced with these kinds, and I don't know where this wisdom came from back then, okay? I can't tell you that I know.
mean, when adversity hits, there's 2 ways to go.
It's a fork.
Yeah.
It's 2 ways.
And a lot of people, especially women, a lot of women choose to step back.
Right. Except that I was at the time 18.
It's amazing what we can do at 18, actually. It's amazing what we can do at 18.
Yeah. And so I had a double major in poli-sci and business. I was taking 18 credits. I just had to get 3 jobs. Took 18 credits. I was a bank teller. I was a receptionist at a car dealership, and I was a French tutor. And I pulled myself by my bootstrap, and I just.
Okay, so this is really important, because it's about what it takes. It's about what it takes to get through the adversity. And oftentimes, we have a lot of people in our community, they want to be entrepreneurs. And then they hit the first roadblock and they quit. Or things get a little hard and, oh, woe is me, it's not going to work, and they quit. So to be an entrepreneur, to be successful in anything, you've got to be willing to do whatever it takes. And that's what I'm hearing you say. I had to be willing to do whatever it took. What it took was 3 jobs. What it took was getting all these credits. And so I'm seeing that the adversity that's happening to you throughout this life has actually served you tremendously well.
Yeah, and I'll say it, and it's gonna sound a little off, but I'm thankful for the adversities in my life today, because I wouldn't be the woman that I am today, but for those adversities.
Yeah.
And
because you learned from them, you grew from them.
Well, I always held on to everything
overcame them.
happens for a reason. I don't know what the reason is, but I'll figure it out.
Sometimes you do, but most times,
but back then I
you don't.
didn't know. And I was like, you know what, I'm gonna figure it out. But for now, since I can't figure it out, I'm just gonna keep going. And truly and honestly, I wanted to make my dad proud. There's something about that for a little girl.
Oh yeah, me too.
So that'll keep you moving. And it's like, okay, and now I say this all the time, life doesn't happen to you, it happens for you. I repeat that a lot because life has happened for me. It served me. Although they were blows, they served me very well. I wouldn't have the hustle that I have, had I had a dad funding my schooling,
or
giving
grandmother
me,
giving you your funding.
Correct. Okay. So I had to figure it out.
And you got these lessons early on, which actually is pretty cool that you could get this character trait and get these this mindset of I'm going to do whatever it takes at that young age. Because oftentimes I see women who have got an easy life, they haven't had the adversity, and then when something happens, they fall apart, especially as they get older. So yeah, I can see how this has served you tremendously.
Yeah.
Okay. So then what happened? So now you're
fast forward,
3 jobs.
I do that. So my last semester in college, I interned on Capitol Hill with Congressman Engel, and I'm like, okay. Everyone always told me that I talk a lot, I should go to law school. So I was like, okay, we'll do that. And I figured, if I'm gonna go for a graduate degree, it's a sure bet to just go to law school, get a Juris Doctor. That'll definitely make my dad proud, right? So decided to take a year off after college. I worked in the city in Manhattan just to pay for my wedding, because back then,
So you're getting married.
I was getting married.
Okay.
I got engaged right out of college. Okay. And so
somebody you met in college?
I met, yes. Okay. And so I met him in college. Great guy, so we got married, moved to South Florida, and attended Nova Southeastern University for 3 years, full time. And I graduated law school.
Congratulations.
Thank you. I took the bar exam, and before the bar results came out, I found out I passed the pregnancy test. Which you should know if you are a rookie lawyer, a woman lawyer. In 2008, when the market is no bueno for any.
I know it's not politically correct, but no, if you're pregnant and you're an aspiring lawyer, then they're gonna take that into account, and that's gonna be a real negative.
Right, it really was.
Yeah.
And I had gotten the job when most of my friends couldn't even get jobs, from the attorney that I had clerked with my last semester in law school. And so he was not happy about it because, of course, the 16-hour days that he expected from me, I was sleepy. You've been down that road.
I have not, because I don't have kids.
Oh, no?
I have no kids, so I don't know that road.
So I ate all day, okay? I was sleeping all the time, and, I was just not well. I wasn't able to put out all these hours of work that he wanted from me. And so that pissed him off. And so I had a horrible first year in a first working year, corporate. And so it just literally took me that year to know that I was psychologically unemployable. Okay. I was like, this is not my thing. I can't work very well for people.
Okay. So you're pregnant.
I'm pregnant. I have my son, and
you're not working.
I'm not working. I have 3 months of maternity leave technically that I had saved for. Of course, way before the 3 months came, my money was running out, and I had to really decide, am I gonna go back to work for this not so nice person, we're not going to say the words that really did come to mind, and put my kid in daycare and, miss out on all the milestones just to pay for daycare? Or am I going to do something? And I honestly I was willing to do anything legal to just stay home and be able to, pay for my bills, because Sally Mae came calling for her money back, for my student loans that I took in law school.
Okay.
And
so you're paying for your student loans. Your husband working?
He was working. For an insurance company. And
but you still wanted to make your own money.
Absolutely.
You didn't want to be dependent on him.
I was never.
Yeah.
And even when I was in law school, I took extra loans out to pay for myself because I have a mouth on me. I couldn't have somebody tell me that they did for me.
You don't like being told what to do?
No, not at all. So here I am. When my back's against the wall, one of the things that I do is pray. So prayed really hard, and I literally was at a Target, and a woman walks up to me and offers me a facial with Mary Kay Cosmetics.
Oh, okay.
And by the end of my time with her, I was a Mary Kay consultant. I had told my boss that I was not coming back. And 5 years later, 3 free cars, drove my pink Cadillac, got my diamonds, made my first 6 figures with Mary Kay. And my Mary Kay money funded my law firm.
Oh, okay. So
That's
Mary
how
Kay,
that went.
so some of you may not know who Mary Kay is. Mary Kay is a huge company. It's international.
Yeah.
It's a network marketing company. And actually, when I was in between jobs after I got fired for the second time from my job, I actually went into network marketing as well. And great education. Because if it's a really good company like Mary Kay is, they teach you about sales, they teach you about business, but they also teach you how to grow yourself.
Absolutely.
That's what is most important, because when you got to go knock on doors, that's what scares the heck out of people. Have to go cold call.
And it is because of my time in Mary Kay having to empower women, to help them stay the course, because many times you're literally talking people off the ledge, all the time in network marketing.
I'm sure the Mary Kay training helped you in terms of running the business of the law firm.
Of course.
Because law school does not teach you anything about
No,
business,
that's why
right?
my course now is, I have a course, that's what I do. How to build a 6-figure law practice in 6 months. I teach, it's called Leap Into Your Lifestyle.
Okay.
I teach lawyers now how to do exactly what I did.
How to run a business.
Right, I take 11 years off their learning curve because I just made 11 years worth of mistakes. My law firm, it's going to be 11 years in January.
Well, and
since
that's important, because we always say we want to learn from real teachers, not fake teachers. And so there's a lot of, school, academia.
Made all the mistakes.
Academia, even though they say academia is full, they have entrepreneurship classes, most times, 99% of the times, the people teaching those classes have never had a business.
Right.
They don't know what it takes to be an entrepreneur. They don't know what it takes to face the problems every day. They don't know what it takes to make payroll when you don't have the income coming in. And so those are all the things that are really important. And I know in the professional professions of law and doctors and so many other realms, I know a dentist had no clue how to run the business.
Right.
They're all great technicians and practitioners, but they don't have the business skills. So I'm happy to hear that you're teaching other lawyers how to build a business.
Right.
Because you want to find a mentor if you're going to build a business that's doing what it is you're doing. That's, I think, one of the keys to success, is a mentor who's doing what it is you want to be doing, and who's willing to work with you to help grow not just your business, but to grow you as a person.
Correct.
So good job.
Yeah.
Good job. So you got divorced. What happened there? Because you have another book coming out called,
Yes.
What's it called?
Why I Had to Leave a Good Man.
Why I Had to Leave a Good Man. There you go.
So, amazing guy, right? But I got married at 22 years old. I didn't know who I was at 22 years old. We have 2 beautiful children.
How old are they?
10 and 5.
Okay.
And I got to a point with him where, I kind of, the writing has been on the wall, right? And the writing's been on the wall, like, in blood for years.
Yeah.
And I remember specifically even having a conversation with him about 5 years ago, when I would say to him, I'm like, if you don't start growing, there's going to be a day that I'm going to say something to you and you're not going to understand what I'm saying. I could see it. I was reading a lot. I was growing.
So you were growing and he wasn't.
Exactly.
He was kind of doing the same old
like
thing.
you were saying about Mary Kay, you do a lot of personal development.
Yeah.
And actually what happened with me was one day when I was in my pink Cadillac, I pull up in front of Starbucks to go speak to a woman who was interested in starting the business. And this guy was at Starbucks, started speaking to me. We're really good friends today. But he started, just something about us clicked. He started sharing what was about a terabyte of personal development material with me. So I became a student of this stuff.
Yeah.
And
You have
I
to
was
every day.
31
You
years
have
old
to.
when I found out I had a subconscious mind. I'm like, why
Yeah.
didn't they tell me? This would have been so much easier,
so much easier.
if I knew. But I guess they didn't know either.
No.
And so I started really studying this stuff. And so, of course, if your partner is not
Growing with you.
the language starts changing, how you attract, how you see things, obviously.
Well, you start
starts
seeing
changing.
things differently. You start understanding your awareness level starts to rise.
Right.
And if his isn't or hers isn't, it's very, very difficult to have those conversations. It's very
Right.
difficult to get excited about life if you're pulling somebody else along with you.
Right. And
Yeah.
so, and again, it's not something that he intended to do, but he turned out to be, he got to a point where he had a problem for every solution. And I'm over here, looking to attract bigger and, open my horizons and
He's telling you
cast
why
a
it's
bigger
not gonna
vision. And
work.
it's like, it's not going to work.
Yeah. Well,
There's
and-
always
yeah.
going to be an issue.
Yeah, yeah.
And
you
I
got,
was
and you
like,
got,
oh
and
my
you got enough
gosh.
stuff going on in your own head that if somebody else is telling you why it's not going to work, it's not, unless it's really good, constructive feedback that is like comes from experience
Right.
and comes from him or her doing what it is she's doing. It can be really destructive. Okay, let me ask you this now: single mom. So you're a single mom. So I remember Robert telling me about his rich dad and his poor dad, and he said his poor dad would say, "The reason I'm not rich is because I have you kids," and rich dad would say, "The reason I must be rich is because I have you kids." And it's all a mindset shift.
Right.
So how do you, as a single mom, going through what you do, how are you raising your kids? And what advice, I don't really like the word advice, but what would you say to women who are single moms who maybe are having a tough time with the single mom piece and the working and trying to, pay the bills and all of that?
Right. Everyone was telling me that I was crazy, that, you have such a good man and you should stay for the kids. I said, I'm leaving for my kids.
Yeah, there you go. What did you see?
What
Did you see what happened with the kids if you stayed?
I saw the limitations, not being able to show them the other way of doing things, the way that, that expansive, that you're creating your life. And I didn't want my kids to think that thinking small and, thinking that things were difficult or whatever, that was true. Because it's, excuse my French, it's bullshit. It's you come out here and you create what you want to create in your life. And if something is holding you back, not working for you, you cut it off. That's it. I was born alone. I met my ex-husband. He was a great guy. We spent, a total of 18 years together, 13 years married. But when it stopped working, it stopped working.
It stopped working, yeah. So let me ask you this. For women who are out there right now watching this, and maybe they're struggling in their marriage, with kids or without kids, but they know it's not working.
Right.
Yet financially, they're afraid to leave because if they leave, they don't know if they can take care of themselves financially. It's kind of a leap of faith.
Right.
If they're going to cut that cord, then they're going to cut their financial cord. And a lot of women are in that situation. They're in bad marriages. They're in unhealthy marriages.
Right.
They're in marriages that don't serve them, but they're afraid to leave because of the money. What would you say to them?
Choose you. Love you enough. Respect you enough. Your happiness is what's going to magnetize you to be able to create these vehicles that will then provide financial support for that decision.
Yeah.
I had to trust that, I would be supported if I put myself in alignment with what was making me happy. My kids are happier because I'm happier.
Yeah.
I was not, I was I got
That's
to a
That's
point
a really good point.
where I snapped at my son and I was like, it's not me. I've never wanted to be the mom that I was being. I was frustrated. I wasn't nice anymore. I wasn't well. And I can't be well for anyone if I'm not well with myself.
Yeah. So it is true. I mean, the most important person in your life, and I don't mean this to be selfish or anything, but the most important person in your life is you.
Absolutely.
I
you
mean,
can't pour from an empty cup.
Yeah.
You have to be.
Your kids are important.
Right.
But what you're saying is if you're not healthy and if you're not happy and if you're not doing, what is the message you're sending to your kids? So I know I can tell you a couple right now, and he's in a horrible marriage, and he doesn't want to leave because of the kids. The kids know what's going
The
on.
kids feel it.
The kids
They know.
Oh, they know. They see it. They hear the fights. They
They
hear
know,
all of it.
they get it.
Yeah.
I mean, my son has told me many times over, you know, that, I mean, he's not happy that we broke up, but he's kind of happy that he has this version of mom.
Yep. Yep.
You know, we do more, we travel more,
So
it's so much more fun.
Yeah. So was it easier to make the decision because you felt financially that you could take care of yourself?
I always took care of myself.
So that was not an issue.
That was never an issue.
So if a woman has an issue right now and she's afraid that she can't, what does she do? What would you
the
tell her?
first thing is get financially independent. It's extremely important. I don't believe in being in a relationship that is codependent in any way. I don't want to codepend on you financially. We don't need to codepend on each other. Emotionally, it's two whole people who are self-sufficient, loves themselves.
That's
you know,
the
I
ideal.
don't need
That's the
from
ideal.
you
Yeah.
anything to complete me. I'm whole and complete, you're whole and complete, and we're doing this partnership thing.
So what I'm hearing, and this is my message for rich women everywhere, is a woman cannot be free unless she's also financially free.
Right.
But a lot of that freedom comes from the personal development work that we all do on
It's
ourselves.
Absolutely.
Because without that,
Yeah.
this is going to get in your way. Emotions are going to get in your way. You're going to stay with people you don't want to stay with. So for me in business, it's always personal development, financial development, as well as business development.
Yeah.
If you put those three together, but the personal development piece has got to be so much a part. It's something I
It's
do every single
essential.
day.
It's
every single day.
Absolutely. It's just like brushing your teeth every day.
Yeah.
You know, it's like you got to do it.
Yeah. I remember there's one guy, and every single time I'd ask him, "How you doing today?" "Hanging in there." I'm like, "Really? Hanging in there?" "Yeah, I'm hanging in there." I'm like, "Well, that's not much of a life to be hanging in there. Like, just get me through the next day." Where I want to be around people that are excited about what they're doing every day and who are going to support and empower me as well as I support and empower them. So I think one of the keys too that for women, if they're in a relationship they don't want to be in, or if they're in a job they don't want to be in, or if they're in a situation and any means that they don't want to be in, really, really important to surround yourself with people that are like-minded, that want to help you achieve your dreams while you assist them in achieving their dreams.
Right.
I mean, do you have that support network?
I only stay plugged in with people that
Are like that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
People have fallen away.
Yeah.
Many people have fallen away as, you know, as I've grown
Yeah.
and
Negative
it's, you know,
people. Negative
I
people.
love you over there.
Yeah.
Like, you know, I can love you at a distance.
I just don't
still
have to
love
talk to you every day.
I don't talk to you every day. I have to hang out with you. But you know, Kim, my perspective on life is a bit different, and maybe, you know, someone could use that perspective and borrow that perspective.
What is that?
My father being murdered at 42 years old, he had plans that afternoon. He had plans for his life. He had travel plans with his wife later on. And, you know, my dad would always say to us, don't ever look at my money, okay? Don't ever look at my money. I'll give you discipline and education, but my money is my money. And I'm going to go and I'm going to blow it with my wife. Right? So he would say that to my sister and I.
That's healthy. Yeah.
So we never thought we were going to get anything anyway, right? And so when someone that you see full of life gets murdered at 42 years old, that's why my book is entitled 28,000 Days. That's what you got. We're not getting out of here alive. We're all here on
28,000 days is how many years?
It's about 75 years. That's the
75
average
years. Okay.
lifespan of a human being,
Okay.
right? And so you're not getting out of here alive. You're on borrowed time.
Yeah, yeah.
Today is the day. It's the gift. It's today. And so if you don't get that and you're here wasting your days hanging in there or being in an unhappy relationship, like, I have too much respect for myself and for the little bit of time that I know that I'm here, that I'm not going to allow myself to stay a day more in a situation that doesn't serve me or doesn't bring me joy. Because of what? Because of what? Money, health insurance? I mean, I have people who say, what are you going to do with it for health insurance? Aren't you on his health insurance? Really? You're going to stay in a relationship for health insurance? Like, I think you're worth more than that. And so, you know, for me, Mary Kay, like I said to you, was my key to entrepreneurship. Excellent. I always say I bought my freedom for $100.
Yep.
That was what my starter kit cost me.
But you also were also willing to do what it takes to get yourself
Well,
successful?
because my why was big.
What was your why?
My why was my kids. I didn't want my son to
And see,
go
that
to
we didn't even
daycare.
talk to, and I know we have to wrap it up here very quickly, but we didn't even get to that because everybody should have a why. Why are you pushing yourself? Why do you want to be financially independent? Why do you want to have your own business? And a lot of people go, "Oh, I just want to pay the bills." No.
No.
If you're going to pay, if
I
it's just to
wanna
pay
be
the
able
bills,
to fund my kids' whole life policies so that when they need, so like
Well,
I
you
have
want
a
the-
lot
you
of
want-
loans that
you
I had to
want-
take out. I didn't have
you want
that.
freedom.
Heck
You
yeah, I
want
want
freedom.
freedom. I
That's-
want
yeah.
time freedom,
'Cause-
money freedom. I want to, go to Givenchy freedom. I like nice things. I like to travel. I want to my kids are both in Catholic school. Like that's important to me. I received that education. I wanted to give it to them. My ex-husband said to me, I can't afford it. And I said, well, then don't worry about it. I walked out of the house and I said, listen, you can keep everything. I don't even want child support. I just want out, and I love you over there. Right? And then I just got my stuff. I set myself up. I got my place.
So today, you're still practicing law?
Absolutely.
Still practicing law.
Yeah.
You have a foundation.
I have
to
a company
empower-
called the Empowerment Institute,
to
LLC.
empower
So what I
lawyers, to
do is
empower women?
I empower women. I do a lot of coaching. I do a lot of seminars and things like that. But mostly, women have my heart, right? And so from my Mary Kay days, they're the ones who showed me that I even had that gift. I didn't even know that I could do this work until I was in Mary Kay, and women would come into my meetings that didn't even belong to my unit, and they just were like, my director says it away, but when you say it, I get it.
Yeah.
And so I was like, okay, well maybe
So
there's something there.
So you want to empower women also to be rich women.
Absolutely.
And rich and always possible.
Absolutely.
Not just financially, but financially is a huge piece of it. Because
It's
financially
important.
is what enslaves us often.
Listen, I wouldn't be here if I couldn't financially be here, right? Everything you experience in life. Tomorrow I'm doing all this self-care retreat all day. I had to pay for that. It's not a matter of money to just stack and, or put under your mattress. It's a vehicle. It's a tool that allows you to experience what life has to offer.
So final words to people watching, wherever they're at their life.
Love
what's the
you
most important?
first. Choose you. Choose you. Choose happiness. Choose flow, because then everything else starts literally banging at your door. Right? This has been my best year, and I've worked the absolute least, but I was in alignment the most I've ever been. So the blessings will literally chase you down if you can just put yourself in that space of happiness, of wholeness, and just be unencumbered. If something doesn't feel good, it doesn't belong in your experience. Drop it.
Nice. Well, thank you.
Thank you.
Because you do embody the whole rich woman phenomena. And what I want to say to women and to everybody watching is, I think the most important thing is the personal development of yourself is so important, because that's what's going to get you through the adversity. And the adversity, to me, that you talked about is probably the biggest gift that we have in our lives is that adversity. Because when you come up against a problem, when you come up against an obstacle, if you back down from it, there's no growth. Nothing happens. Right. If you say, I can't do this, nothing happens. But when you break through, when you work through the obstacle, when you overcome the adversity, that's where growth happens. That's where the joy comes from. That's where the magic happens. And so for anybody out there who has a dream, they know their life can be better in many ways, but they haven't yet been willing to take that leap, to take that step, now might be your time. So I encourage you to go for your dreams. Don't let the obstacles, let the adversity get in your way. Instead, use the obstacles and use the adversity to have the freedom that you want in your life. So thank you, Kara. A pleasure.
Thank you.
Really a joy.
Pleasure
wonderful
was mine.
Wonderful to talk with you.
Thank
and we'll
you.
talk again.
Yes,
Thanks.
absolutely.
Thank you very much for watching.